potential. And this afternoon, we are going to talk about the proper email etiquette for effective email communication. Pero bago po ang lahat niyan, panoorin muna natin ito.
With Enervon, you get more immunity. Tulong para protektado sa sakit dulot ng virus. Ito ang #1 multivitamin. May ascorbic acid and more. More immunity na, more energy pa. 650 lang. Kaya mag-Enervon every day.
Yulilab yan.
Thank you for participating on our session this afternoon, and I will assure you that after this session, you will become an effective email communicator. This afternoon, again, as I've mentioned, we are going to talk about the proper email etiquette. What is the importance of email? Why we need to have a proper email etiquette? Email is a powerful marketing tool, and it's necessary to understand why email still plays such a big role in our business and in commerce in general. Because business email is a quick and quality platform or means to communicate with clients, potential customers, suppliers, staff, your bank manager, and industries all over the world. Sometimes, due to language barriers, time zones, inconvenience, and for record purposes, the telephone is just not a viable form of communication. Email empowers everyone, me, you, to connect the people from around the corner to around the world in a quick, cost-effective, professional, concise, personal, with the ability to talk to more than one person at a time. Yes, that's exactly how email empowers every one of us. What more, you don't have to employ more people to make use of email as a medium, because today, every employee, from the receptionist to the storeman and everybody in between, has already an access to email. So that's how email importance to every business, because it is a powerful marketing tool, quality platform to communicate, and empowers people to connect with other people. That's why this afternoon we will be discussing about the proper email etiquette for effective way of email communication. What are the parts of an email? Yes, email has also parts. First is the header, and then we have the body, and of course we have the signature. So that's the parts of an email. What is a header of an email? Header includes the from, the to, the date, and of course the subject of your email. So those are the four components of the header of an email. What is from? So from is the list of sender's email address. And the header may also list the actual name of the sender when the sender has recorded this information with the email service. So those are from. So based on the understanding or based on our perspective, so those from, those are the sender. That is the name and email address of the sender. Now let's go to the anatomy of the email on the from component. So it is also that the email recipients put more weight on who the email is from and than any other item when choosing, because they will choose which email to open, which to delete, and which to complain about. For example, in my current job right now, we are more on email communication. Even on the business, we are more on email communication. So as we read, this email is from who? This email is from who? So we have already which email we are going to prioritize. So for me, I will prioritize first the email coming from my boss, because maybe there are some important instructions that my boss would like me to do. So that's the importance of from. It signifies, or it helps us to identify which email we are going to prioritize, or which email we are going to open first. Now let's move to the to component. The to, which is one of the component of the email. So to indicates to whom the message is being sent. Original messages may be sent to more than one recipient. That's exactly because we can send to many people, because as mentioned, email will help us to communicate to more than one people at the same time. So that's why on the to part, it is not limited only to one email address or one person. So you can put so much recipient on the to, but you have to be careful. We have to be careful who are the person that we are going to put on the to part, or on the to part of the email header. Next is the date and often the time. It's a date and time. So this area refers when the message was sent, and it's also a timestamps that are often issued by the email server. So we don't have a control on this one. So whatever the date on the email server on our computer, so automatically it will be the date and time that will appear when we are going to send a particular email. Next is the subject, which is one of the most important when doing or sending an email. So we should not forget to put a subject on whatever emails that we have. But there are criteria, or there are guidelines on how we could create a certain subject on a certain email. So of course, subject contains the topic of the message. When no subject is included, some email services will deliver that one into a junk email. So if no subject, remember that one. If no subject, some of the email server will deliver your message to the junk mail of the recipient. So what is junk mail? Junk mail is a folder for messages from senders not found in the receiver's address book. Not only that, if your email has also no subject, so the email server of the recipients will deliver that your message, also your email message, to the junk mail. So it's very important to always put a subject on your email. Now let's go to the body of the email. What is body of the email? Body of the email is a content. It's a content where the message is entered, and before you type anything into a new message, answer these two questions first. Why I am writing this? Bakit ba ako mag-email, or bakit ba ako magsusulat? What exactly do I want the result of this message to be? So yun. Because for me, every time that I am going to send an email, I always have the greetings. There dear, hi, and then my message, which is have a nice day. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Hope you were doing great, something like that. And then I will state the message before it could be an introduction. So, as I have heard that you will be having this kind of blah blah blah, and then next I will put my interest, and in the third paragraph I will do the action or the call to action, and then after that one I have to close. Later on, malalaman nyo yan kung paano ba magko-construct ng email. On content, always remember before you hit send, review and delete first negative comments about management if you are working or if you're an employee, criticisms of staff or performance issues, you have to avoid that one, bonuses or salary issues, product or liability issues, gossip, humor, or other ambiguities. So you have to take note that one, you have to review and delete those unnecessary or offensive phrases or words in your email before you are going to hit the send button. Right, so emails are easy to read. Just make sure if you write an email, it only consists of 8 lines per paragraph. Insert a blank line between paragraph, use headlines, bullets, and numbers to point out your points on every paragraph, or it's up to you. As long as, for me, I prefer bullet points if I am talking so much details, and then always avoid caps lock or all capital letters, because that signifies shouting, or that means shouting. If a message is longer than 3 screens, it's better for you to send as an attachment. So those are some of the few guidelines that you have to take note when constructing or sending an email. But basically, you should avoid all those unnecessary phrases or those offensive words and phrases. Avoid capital letters, all capital letters or caps lock when constructing an email. And then the third one is try to avoid red fonts. And this is just an example on how you are going to create an effective email. First, you just have to say greetings, or to open them, dear John, or dear someone, or who's that person. Dear, because maybe you are not close to each other, and that is the first time that you send out an email to that person. Later on, if you are close already, or you are familiar, or you're having constant business dealings already, now you can use the hi, hello, hi John, hi someone, hello, something like that. And then always, if you are replying to an email, just always say thank you for something, Just always say thank you for something, or you can have it, have a nice day, or good morning, thank you for. Always be grateful when you are replying an email. Next, on the next paragraph, you can now state your message, or you can refresh, reiterate, and then put your understanding, and then at the bottom, at the last paragraph, maybe you can have your call to action if necessary, or added lines if necessary, and then you can have your closing, kindly regards, best regards, Jack or John, something like that. And that part, that's what we call as signature. So signature is also part of an email because it is a closing. It is a sign of feature that allows the sender to create additional information for the receiver. Kanino ba galing yung email na to? Saan company siya nagtatrabaho? So that's the importance of email. How could someone contact you? How could someone reply to you, or in future, to whom I am going to contact? You already have your signature can be also your marketing area for you to market your company, to market your brand. Because signatures can be saved and pasted to the end of any email. So signatures often list the sender's business name, address, telephone number, and all other related informations of the company. This is one of the very good example of an email signature. So there is a company logo, and then the name of the sender, maybe his or her position, the phone numbers, the web address, and then the company address, and also the Facebook page, the Twitter, Instagram, or Google Plus, or whatever. So that is important part also of the email. So as we recap, we have the header, which consists of the from, to, the date, and then we have also the subject, which is one of the most important. Now the key points is you have to take note. The from, it helps you to prioritize or decide which email you are going to open first. And then the subject is very important also because it tells you how important is the email by just looking at the subject. Now on the body of the email, so that is already the content of your email, which consists of your opening or greetings, your message, and then the call to action. And then the last one will be your signature, which consists of your name, the name of your company, the company logo, your phone numbers, or your position if you want to indicate, and then the website address, and then the company address, and all your social media links. You can put it on your signature. Aside from that, there are also other email options that we have on the email platform. First, we can forward email. We can reply email. We can put CC, BCC, and we can add attachments. Now let's discuss it one by one. Forward. It is a feature that allows the sender to pass the message to another recipient, including attachments. So it is a feature of an email platform where you can just immediately forward your email together with the attachments, so to someone who are not on the look on the email, but it is necessary that he or she will be informed, or he or she will take action on that email. Reply. It is also a feature that allow the recipient to respond to a message from the sender. So many email services allow the recipient to change the original message with replying. So it depends on email service provider that you may have. But of course, it is a feature. Now we have to be careful when doing a reply. So if you need everybody on the email, on the to, and on the CC, or on the carbon copy, or we call it, we will discuss it later on, what is CC. So if they are necessary, then you can include them all. But if not necessary, so you can just reply to the sender. You can just reply to the sender if all other persons on the email are not necessary to know or to be informed on your reply to the sender. CC is a feature for sending an original message to prime recipient and to other interested parties. Remember that for CC, it's only for your information, for your reference. So when using CC, all recipients see who is receiving the message. So when you're using a CC, so all recipients on the to and on the CC recipients will know to whom you are sending the message. So before that one, before CC originally means of carbon copy and has transitioned into a courtesy copy. So now you know that CC is not anymore as carbon copy. Now it is called as a courtesy copy. Now BCC. So BCC is similar to CC, except that BCC or blind courtesy copy recipients are invisible to other recipients. So those persons or email address that you put on the BCC, they cannot see to whom you are sending the email. They cannot see the email address on the to area and also the email address on the CC area. So they can only receive an email without any informations or without any knowledge who are the recipient, who are the person on the CC loop on that certain email. Now, here are the tips on how to use the BCC wisely. To keep addresses private, put your own address on the to line and paste your mailing list in the CC line. So that's one tip. So if you are going to send an email and you don't want the recipient will see on the email address of the other persons receiving your email, so you have to put them all on the BCC. And then on the to, you can put your name because some email provider will not allow you to send an email if the two fields are blank. Now, BCC within organization can create distrust. So you have to be careful that one. So if you are an employee or you are working, so be careful on using the BCC function or features of an email platform. Next is attachments. So attachments, those are the other files sent with a message. So attachments like that is already a documents, probably it will be a documents, maybe an invoice that you are going to attach, or the details of your email content that you want the recipient to read that as a reference on what you were talking on your email message. So those are the other email options. Also, here are the tips to avoid being marked as spam sender. So minimize the use of large fonts, colored fonts, and all caps, including the signature file. Just use a specific descriptive subject. Do not begin the subject with urgent assistance or very urgent, confidential, reply, response, help, business attention. So you have to avoid that one. So those are the first part of our discussion this afternoon. Before we are going to proceed to our next part of the email etiquette, for us to have an effective email communication, let's all watch this.
With Enervon, you get more immunity. Tulong para protektado sa sakit dulot ng virus. Ito ang #1 multivitamin. May ascorbic acid and more. More immunity na, more energy pa. 650 lang. Kaya mag-Enervon every day.
Proper email etiquette. So, what is etiquette? Etiquette is a proper conduct or manners for producing an email message is called netiquette. So etiquette is for the internet. So netiquette, so be sure to include a subject line So netiquette or etiquette, netiquette. I'm sorry. Etiquette. Then we have also netiquette. So it is a guidelines or a proper manner, or it's a proper conduct when sending or constructing or producing an email message. So first, be sure to include a subject line, because some email services sort incoming messages by subject for the recipient. Consider using a BCC to keep email addresses private, or to ensure that the two area or fields of the message remains a small size or confidential. Recipients need not to scroll past several listings to arrive at the body of the message. So it's one of the proper email etiquette. Write a clear and concise message. So just get direct to the point. Just your, as mentioned, you have your opening like there, hi, hello, and then you have to be grateful if you're replying an email, or you have to thank you for having a prompt response, something like that. And then you are going to have your message now, and also your call to action, or if you need a deadlines, and then your signature. So that's it. That's what we call as clear and concise messages. Just make sure you have the opening, you have the body, and the conclusion, or the call to action. Always write short sentences. Try to avoid lengthy sentences in constructing an email. Avoid double spacing your messages, as email requires recipients to scroll through messages without the benefit of highlighting or marking the message as one might on a printout. So you have to avoid a double spacing. Also avoid the use of all capital letters, because capitalizing all letters is considered shouting or flaming. So try to avoid, or always avoid, all capital letters if not necessary. Also avoid using red color font that recipient may consider that as hostile. Always avoid that red font, because in most of the cases, we are really fan of using the red font for us to highlight our idea or thoughts. Instead of using the red fonts, you can use the bullet points, or you can just make it bold, or other colors is fine, like blue, or as long as you could highlight your point. When replying a message or to a message, consider deleting part of the original message to save space on the screen. So you can only retain those part of the sentence to which you are responding. As part of the email etiquette, try to delete, or if there's no need to record or to have that email trail, so you can delete and only retain those messages or message that you are replying to. Avoid using the reply to all function. As mentioned, be careful on having the reply to all function, as this sends your response to all recipients on the email, including the CC fields. Always ask yourself, does everyone need to know this information? Kailangan ba malaman to ng lahat, ng buong mundo? Yung reply mo to that sender. Always ask yourself, does everyone need to know this information? Because email is an official written document, so do not write something that you would not say to the recipient in person. So kung ano yung gusto mong ipaabot na mensahe, yun lang. Huwag mong isulat doon yung mga salitang ayaw mo talagang sabihin sa recipient in person. Because consider an email as a formal message, and always keep it professional. Avoid acronyms, abbreviations using the beginning of the because not everyone will know their meaning. Like, for example, BFF, best friend forever, HAGW, have a good weekend, something like that. And one of the abbreviation that I encountered on email when I was working in a multinational company is the OOO, the triple O. What does it mean? So it means it's out of office. So you have to be careful that because not everybody knows that what is triple O. It's out of office, by the way. Use proper grammar. Always use proper grammar. And sometimes this area, most of us struggle in this area. As much as you can, try to use proper grammar. You can conduct a spell check of your messages, and there's a lot of online platforms that you can check your grammar. Then use simple fonts. Maybe just use the Arial, the Times Roman, or the Calibri, or just the simple fonts, not the stylish or artistic fonts. Sometimes they are using the horror fonts, which is not appropriate because other computers or email platforms may have a limited number of fonts available for email use. Using a small or compact font keeps the message in a more confined area. So you have to remember that one, always be specific. State the terms and conditions clearly to avoid miscommunication. If you are providing information about time, places, or people, be clear and concise to your message. And most recipient will ask, why do I need this email? Or what is expected of me? So always be clear and concise when writing an email. Here are some of the tips that we have. First, leave the address blank if you are still constructing your email or if you are still finalizing your email. Because maybe if you already put the email address on the to or on the CC and then you suddenly hit the click button or you accidentally click the send button, then you will be on a disaster, I mean. So if you're furious and must answer an email right away, leave the address line blank. If you hit send before you've had a chance to call down, then the email won't go through. Another tip that I'm going to share with you, do not reply an email if you are still angry or under pressure. Just let yourself cool down first, then write an email because it will reflect that at that time you were angry, and then you will type everything what are the words or the emotions that you have at that time. So try to avoid replying an email if you are not in the mood or if you are angry or come from the negative situation. Just let yourself cool down first. Email has quickly become a communication standard and the internet's most popular application. So both number of email users and the usage rates are continuing to grow exponentially. So here are some of the general email etiquette rules. First, all caps is considered shouting or flaming. So is over punctuating. Try to avoid over punctuating. Try to avoid not using capitalization or punctuation makes an email hard to read. So put a proper punctuation like the comma or the period for you to separate phrases and sentences. So text messaging, abbreviations, or yung tinatawag natin na Digimon type of writing an email is a big no. Avoid emoticons, so much emoticons, like you put heart, because as mentioned, you should always keep your email professional. Then if you're giving an acronyms or writing an acronyms, put an explanation for that. Always check the spelling and grammar before sending. Try to avoid slang words or those Philippinisms at a minimum. Some more email etiquette tips. Beware of Hidden readers write as if mom or the boss is going to read. So when you're writing an email, always think that you're sending it to a boss. So you'll be careful what you are going to write on your email. So remain the gender neutral. Keep harassment and discrimination policies in mind when you are going to send an email, because it's already a black and white document to sue you at the court if you're sending some harassment or discrimination phrases or words in your email. Control the urge to flame and don't use email to let off steam, and always respect other people's time. So we need to make, when you are constructing an email, we need it to be clear and concise. Never reply to a spam email, because it might be a virus that will get all your computer's personal information. Do not email the world if not necessary. So as mentioned, just reply to a person or to the sender if as necessary. No need to send to everybody if those persons or those other recipients don't need to know your reply or your response to the sender. Copy that with care, reply to all with care. As mentioned, don't oversell your messages. Always ask permission before forwarding, and be cautious in sending attachments. And always use a salutation and signature. Salutation means, "Dear Mr. John," "Dear Mr. someone," and then your signature. "Best regards, kind regards, respectfully yours," your name, your company name, company logo or company name, then the company address, phone numbers, and all other marketing materials that you want to include on your email signature. But don't make your email signature crowded. Beware of exclamation point. You have to be careful that one. Resist the urge to capitalize. Always applies to all lowercase letters if no need. Just only capitalize if it is the beginning of the sentence. And then use correct spelling and grammar and punctuation as always mentioned. Think before requesting a send receipt. Always think that one, because you have to respect the time of your receiver or recipient. Treat others as you would have them treat you. Then consider email limitations and always use a descriptive subject line. And we are done with the proper email etiquette for us to be more effective in email communication. Where are we now? According to study, 85% of retailers in USA consider email to be one of the most effective forms of marketing. In many aspects, email has proven more successful, cost-effective, and targeted in consumer acquisition than social media. So everyday email empowers you to directly engage with customers on personal, individual, and permission basis. And when running a business is highly competitive, in a highly competitive world, it's more important than ever to make every cent count, capitalizing on marketing opportunity at no cost to company while communicating with clients in a normal course of events. So it is an opportunity not to be missed. So that's how email communication or email platform is important. So we should remember those email etiquettes, and we should be careful and make sure our message are clear and concise before we are going to hit the send button. Think first before you hit send. This is Rene. Discover your full potential. Good afternoon and have a nice day. Stay safe, everyone. God bless us all.